Ready for some more sewing, Lucky? I know we've been sewing a lot lately. Like a lot. So my next big project that I am going to finish by Saturday, and it is currently Monday, is going to be historically accurate Robin Hood inspired outfits for my husband and myself, because we are going to go to the Fall Fling Renaissance Festival, which is Robin Hood themed this year, which I'm super excited about. But that does require making the outfits. So I'm starting with my husband. So we're going to make him a green Robin Hood tunic. I already have the hat done, so check. That's done. But now I'm working on making the tunic. I have it actually cut out, so there is that at the moment. I'll show you how I did that in just a second, because I did not have a pattern, but I did have a t-shirt.
So of course the first thing that I need for any project is fabric. So I decided to go, and it was actually kind of like on our way somewhere else. We just stopped by Fine Fabrics, and this is when they still had their location over by 85, down by the Jimmy Carter exit. I went over to their linen section, and their linen section is always kind of like questionable about like linen-y, is it? But anyway, it looks like linen, and I got some green linen. And I'm using my t-shirt method, using a t-shirt that is my husband's, laying it down to kind of get the idea for width and where the arms need to be and where the neck hole needs to be. And then I'm just also taking the measurement from his shoulder to his knee, and I'm putting that measurement starting at the shoulder of the t-shirt and then just going down however far I need to make sure that the tunic is the right length. I always like to have it a little bit longer, because you can always cut off an inch or two rather than add an inch or two, because that doesn't look right for a medieval tunic, not at all. Now I decided to do a tunic that is more 1100s in style, and I chose that for several reasons. And that means that there is no gore in the center front. There are only gores at the side, and then there's just 2 rectangles front and back. And then the sleeves are also just really long rectangles with a gusset under it for movement. I'm cutting out the gusset right here. It is just a square of fabric inserted into the sleeve like a diamond. And here I am cutting out those gores, and I'm just cutting them out the width of my fabric to the length that I need it, as I measured up the sides, because they should go up to where the natural waistline is. And I actually made it like a little, this was really wide fabric, like some really wide fabric, so I decided to not go all the way to the side.
So my mom and my husband are amazing thrifters. And my mom was at thrift store one day, and she found this Janome sewing machine for 30 bucks, $29.99. So she got it for me. And I've been a little hesitant to use it, because I feel like I have an emotional attachment to my brother's sewing machine over here. This was my first sewing machine ever, from like a decade ago, which I don't like, from over a decade ago, which I don't like thinking about, that's been that long. But I do think that it is time to upgrade to this secondhand Janome. My brother's been breaking down a little bit, because I think I've asked it to do a little bit too much than what it was made to do. And I realized that when I was sewing my last thing and I was having to kind of like yank it through, I was having to pull more than guide it. And I did a few practice stitches on here. I was like, oh my gosh, what have I been missing? Oh my gosh. So this is going to be my first project that I'm going to be sewing on the Janome. I'm excited for it. Let's see how it goes. So one of the things that is like, about this machine and getting it secondhand is that it doesn't have the little thing that's supposed to hold the bobbin on here. It actually did come with the instruction manual and a couple of the other feet, which I was honestly impressed with. But yeah, no little thing that holds this on. So I just stuck another bobbin on there to see if that helps. I don't know if it will. It just sounds so nice. Yeah. Doesn't it, Lucky? Mwah. I love you. Do you like the new machine? Yeah? Yeah. It's pretty great. Okie dokie. I'm gonna need some of that. I'm gonna need you, yeah. Just a little bit. Thank you. There's barely any side seam to this. I'm just going ahead and sticking a little one in there because I wanted to make sure it stays. This thread thing's going to become a problem, isn't it? Almost like a little tacking stitch for me on the side there, but I am concerned. What if? I know this is not what we're supposed to do here, but let me see if that's works out better. Putting it on the bobbin winder. Lucky? What are you playing with? Oh, my marker? I do like playing with that for some reason.
So, the 1973 Disney movie Robin Hood is set during the late 12th century. So, sometime during the Third Crusade, which is 1189 to 1192, because that's when King Richard is on the throne, but he's away on crusade. So, his brother, Prince John, is essentially being the regent and running things while his brother is away. So, that is the time period that I am going for this tunic. Now, the Foxy Robin Hood has a just green tunic and he doesn't wear any pants because he's a fox, but they would be leggings, what they would be called hose, but essentially they're leggings, which are just basically pants that are not connected and you tie them to your underwear. Now, I was going to make these, but I ran out of time. I was going to make some brown ones, but then I realized that my husband already had some red ones, which also look very fox-like. That was great. I didn't have to make that, but I did need to make Robin Hood's famous hat. In almost every version of Robin Hood, whether he be fox or human, he is wearing a bicocket. So the bicocket is that fun little pointy hat with a feather. So the bicocket hat is a style of hat that was fashionable for both men and women in Western Europe from the 13th to 16th century, so the 1200s to 1500s. Apparently, Fox Robin Hood is very fashion forward and is, introducing this cool new style of hat because he seems like he might be just on the cusp of when they were popular. But it's hard to say exactly when it was invented, but we know that there are examples of it in the 13th century. I'm going to show you how I actually made one of these in just a little bit. But currently you have been seeing me put in the gores on the side of the tunic and then also to set the sleeves that I already put the gusset in. This style of tunic is called rectangular construction because everything is a rectangle or a triangle or a square. and it goes together very nicely and very easily. I also have a couple other videos where I go into how to make a tunic in a little bit more depth, but I'm also showing you pretty decently how it is here. Just if you wanted more information, I do have videos that have a little bit more. So here I'm using the t-shirt as my guide for a neckline. You can also, if you've already made a tunic or you have a tunic that you like the neckline of, go ahead and use that as your guide.
So now we gotta figure out something about the sleeves. I made them extra long this time because the other ones I made a little short.
Yeah.
So I was like, I will not have that problem again. So just go ahead and like let them hang by your side naturally. Alright, and then your wrists are about right here.
Mm-hmm.
That's where we're gonna want it. So we want it like just a little bit below that.
Yeah, so you can like hem it up.
So I can hem it up. So this is where you,
let's say like right, yeah.
like right, where's your thumb?
Right below the thumb.
So
right.
like right here.
Yeah, like there.
That's where you want the sleeve to be, like end right here.
I guess a little bit up.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and mark there to cut, and then that's where it will be. Yeah, we'll get that. I did so good.
Always.
Thank
Duh.
you. Okay. So like here?
Yeah? Seems right.
Where's your wrist? Okay. And I'll measure the other one too.
Okay.
Like your thumbs. We'll see how good I did on eyeballing it. My little lucky lady. Okay, and then length?
Length is good. Knees.
You
right there.
like it like a little longer?
Yeah, I feel like it's more period too to have it like to the knees.
I mean, it's anywhere between like mid-thigh to knee. And then I'm going to have to hem it. I'm also going to, I am going to shorten it because triangles and squares and all that. So this is going to have to get a little shortened. So
but yeah, where it is though is
matches
good
this.
once you have cleaned it up.
Okay. So I'll just clean it up.
Yeah,
I won't worry about
no
any
need
of
to
that.
like shorten anything else.
Okay. It's going to be a little shorter. Like, it's going to show your knees.
But I'm saying like no need to add shortening to that. Yeah.
Go.
We had to have a Lucky Snuggles break. I am so proud of how much more friendly Lucky has gotten with people who are not me. So she very much enjoys being held and given scratches by her father now. These sleeves were just too long. I had made the mistake of just taking at the arm measurement straight out and not allowing for the movement of putting your arm down, and then the sleeves were a little bit too short, so do not make that mistake. Please learn from my mistakes. So now I always make them a little bit too long, and then I can just hem them to wherever feels right. Oh, I also did want to mention that I did serge and wash this fabric before I started cutting anything out. Linen is notorious for shrinking and getting all frilly, so like you have to serge or zigzag stitch the edge of it before you wash it. This linen was difficult to work with. It became very stringy really fast, and I'm going to have to go back and do something to the insides. Like, I'm like, well, I could serge it maybe, but my serger is also kind of on the fritz. And I also like to do hand finishing things. I'm not going to get that done in a week, but maybe later. Now, we are part of the Society for Creative Anachronisms, and they have so many awesome classes hosted by awesome, knowledgeable people. And one of the classes that I got to go to was how to make a bicocket, and it was just like perfect timing for this project. So we bought some wool hat blanks from the interwebs, and I will link that all below as well. First step is to wet the hat. Second step is to steam the hat and make it all really hot and wet. And then we did not have a hat block. We just used our own heads. So we put the wet, hot hat on our head and then pulled. And you just pull it enough until you have enough extra to shape it how you want. And then you steam it into the shape that you desire. My friend Steve had given me this tube of awesome red feathers. I also thought that this is a fantastic way to store feathers with a paper towel tube. So thanks, Steve, for the feathers and also for this awesome storage idea that I wanted to pass along to the rest of the universe here. When he gave them to me, I said I wanted them, but I had no idea what I was actually going to do with them. But then I was like, oh my gosh, Robin Hood needs a red feather for his hat, obviously. So I was able to do this. I played around with it, but I decided on just one of the larger feathers. And I had also made myself a bicocket as well. So Steven actually made his own bicocket, and I also made my own bicocket. Mine was the teal one that you saw me working on. He made this green one for himself, but then I just helped do the finishing touches, stitching the edges and stitching the feather in. And then it was time for us to go to the Fall Fling Renaissance Fair. Look at his outfit. He looked awesome. I am so happy with how both of our outfits turned out. Make sure you click like and subscribe, because next video will be about how I made my historically accurate Maid Marian outfit, and then you get to come to the Fall Fling Renaissance Fair with us. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you so much to my patrons over on Patreon for making content like this possible for everybody. All right, until next time, bye.